Well, the Michael Jackson jury proceedings began this week, and the trial is not too far off. And tomorrow night on the Fox News Channel, Geraldo Rivera's interview with Michael Jackson will air. And Geraldo joins me live on the phone now from Los Angeles. Hello, Geraldo.
Hi, Paul. How you doing?
I'm doing just great. Welcome to KMOX. Let's start right in with some of the stuff you got Michael to say on camera, and what your thoughts were of sitting there and asking him these questions. Do you think, from sitting down and talking to him, that he could be guilty of what he's charged with?
No, I don't, Paul. I think that regardless of whatever his personal quirks may be, reading the indictment and then reading the warrants that preceded the big indictment, as you know, the grand jury minutes were all leaked. The case just doesn't add up. I think that in many ways he's being framed by a family out for a quick score and a district attorney with a chip on his shoulder.
Do you think this family is a bunch of con artists?
Well, all I know is what the facts suggest. This is the mom has, twice used the courts to push abuse allegations. She's been accused in court of coaching her children to get a settlement in a case against J.C. Penney. She already has testified before Los Angeles County authorities that absolutely nothing happened between her son and Michael Jackson. She's been accused by various charities of misappropriating the money. I think there's a lot there, and when you examine the evolution of these charges against Jackson, I think that they really stink, Paul.
Doesn't she say that she was pressured to make that statement in support of Michael by the Jackson family and his supporters?
Well, she wasn't with the Jackson family or their supporters before the Los Angeles County social worker who interviewed them. It was just the woman and her son. After these alleged allegations happened, she didn't call 911 or the authorities. She somehow found her way to the same lawyer that had, gotten the settlement out of Jackson the first time around. Now, of all the lawyers in the world, how did she find Larry Feldman? And why doesn't she call the cops instead of calling the civil lawyer? It's just, it stinks, Paul. It doesn't pass the sniff test.
Do you think it's just a matter of he's a big celebrity, I'm going to go after the bucks?
Well, I think he's not only a big celebrity, but he's got very bizarre personal habits. He told me one of the things he said in the interview is that he's never going to sleepovers with boys that aren't related to him again. He understands that there's certain conduct that just violates social norms and just is indefensible, however innocent it may be. But he is definitely a target. He's probably been sued more than anybody in the country in these frivolous lawsuits.
You're a father, Geraldo. Would you have let your kids, when they were younger, hang out at Michael Jackson's house without you being around and sleep in his bed?
Absolutely not. And I don't know any responsible parent that would with any grown adult man. I think that, Michael Jackson's reputation could not have been unknown to this woman when she presented her child there. That's another reason when you examine the fishy circumstance, was she a mom or was she a madam? I think it's, when people look at what has happened here and take a deep breath and see whether or not these allegations, whether these facts and circumstances would support an indictment like this against anybody other than Michael Jackson, I think in fairness, there's nothing that I can see here. It's just her word, her son's word, and his little brother corroborating him. And these are people, as I suggest, Paul, that have been down this road before. Michael Jackson's not the first time.
But I find it interesting that you say that, when Michael says, I didn't know it was wrong at the time and I obviously have learned something, isn't it possible that when the woman took her kid over there and he was sick and Michael was going to do all these wonderful things for him at Neverland Ranch, that she was maybe a little, if you believe Michael's naivete, why not believe that she was naive?
Well, I just think that how could you be naive when she'd already been through it with J.C. Penney? She'd already been through it with her own ex-husband, her step-husband, or the kid's stepfather, already on the record saying that he wanted money from Michael. You just have to, because Michael Jackson is so weird looking, and he's had all, the monkey and the elephant man and all the other unusual aspects of his life, the plastic surgery, and all the rest of it. I think people are willing to believe anything and everything about him. But I just remind your listeners that Ted Bundy was a good-looking, middle-of-the-road kind of, straight white guy, and he ended up being the serial killer of 30 women. So, appearances can be deceiving, and I think that if people just gave Jackson a chance and allowed this process to take its full measure, I believe he's going to be acquitted.
Do you think he's going to get a fair trial?
Yeah, I do. He's got a great lawyer, and the one thing about the district attorney, this district attorney would have been censured if he had pulled any of this stuff that they did against Michael Jackson against anyone else. Over 120 search warrants executed, $3 million in bail. The district attorney himself conducting surveillance. I think that this just cannot stand uncommented on, and I'm shocked that the mainstream media has gone along with this district attorney so silently, just because they want to believe it all.
What did Michael say to you that surprised you, Geraldo?
Well, I'm not sure that there were many surprises in that sense. I mean, he talked about his relationship with Elizabeth Taylor. He talked about the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. He talked about what it's like growing up on stage, basically from the age of 5. He talks about why he created Neverland, really to try and capture the childhood that he never had. I think the interesting thing about Jackson, upon examination, is this whole notion of lost childhood and what's really these having sleepovers. What's this all about? Is this really someone who's going through some kind of infantile psychosis, or your psychology buffs that call you would be able to define it a lot better than me. But he's a very interesting creature of the 41 years on stage as one of the world's superstars, with no private life to speak of, no living in isolation, not really trusting anybody as a friend, because you never know when they're out to exploit you. I'm fascinated by the guy, and I think that I saw him babysitting with his own kids, and he's the thing about him, after you get past the packaging, he's quite a normal guy. He's a single dad. He's with the toddler and the 5-year-old and the 6-year-old, and just like all of us dads, trying to herd the cats, negotiating between the Discovery Channel and Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, and eat your Cheerios or eat your Fruit Loops or whatever it is. That aspect of him, the normalcy, and how quickly you get used to him, I guess, of all things, that's probably the most surprising.
He's not still walking the kids around in burqas, is he?
Well, he still is. Yeah, he has been, but he told me that he's about to, allow the kids. He's always done it because he's paranoid they're going to get snatched or something.
Yeah.
But he told me that they will soon be unveiled. The kids want to go on stage with him. They want to hang out with him. He's going to walk them around. I think that what you're going to see in Michael Jackson, who knows he's in the fight of his life, incidentally, is a guy who will soon be shedding some of the more bizarre aspects of his personal life heretofore.
A lot of this stuff that Michael is charged with is because of the thing that Martin Bashir did with him for ABC a couple of years ago, where he spent several days with Michael and observed him just as you did. But obviously,
and then knifed him in the back.
And you two had very different experiences, it seems.
Well, I don't think that's true at all. I think we had very similar experiences. I've just been a lot more honest about it. He's an easy guy to take a shot at. When you saw Michael Jackson's outtakes of Martin Bashir's interview, and you hear Bashir gushing about what a good dad Jackson is and all the rest of it, and then not a word of anything positive appears on the documentary. This is a lean and hungry reporter who I think really did a number on Jackson. And one thing you mentioned that documentary, you're right that is the genesis of all of his current legal woes. But what's interesting is that documentary aired on February 6th. The indictment and the allegations against him all begin on February 7th.
Yep.
In other words, there's nothing in the indictment. He sees himself portrayed as a pedophile in this documentary. And we're asked to believe that he then gets the idea to be a pedophile. And it just doesn't make any sense. It's not. In other words, there's no charges before. There's no charges before the Bashir documentary. All the allegations stem from after. When he's making his own rebuttal documentary, when NBC Dateline is doing a very critical 2-hour documentary about him, in the wake of all of the Martin Bashir documentary being aired in the United States, we're asked to believe Michael Jackson is now beginning to abuse this cancer victim. It just doesn't. That's not human nature, Paul. That's not the way we work. An arsonist, once accused, doesn't go out and buy packs of matches. I mean, that's just not the way it works. I think that this thing's going to fall apart like like a cheap suit.
Geraldo, the New York Daily News is reporting today that Debbie Rowe, Michael's ex-wife, is going to, or has already begun to try to get custody of the kids because of these charges. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I know that was, I just saw her on one of the Access Hollywood ET shows or whatever it is, getting Botox and facelifts. I mean, these people live a tabloid existence, and although she has signed away the rights, basically, given everything up, sold them in a sense to her once husband. Now she, because he is imperiled legally, has, she is, I understand, seeking custody. I doubt she's going to get it unless they can prove that he's a bad dad. And if they ask me to testify, I'll tell you what I saw, and I saw a good dad, not a bad dad. Of course, if he's guilty of these charges, he'll lose custody automatically, or nearly automatically, but I just don't believe that's going to happen.
Do you think, when you talked to him, what did Michael Jackson say about Eminem? Does he hate his guts?
He does. It's not that he hates him. He said, I don't want to curse on your air, but he quoted Stevie Wonder, who said that it's really bull crap for a rapper who makes his money off the community to do such a racist, bigoted portrayal of Michael Jackson. It's a cheap shot. Great artists don't do that. Stevie Wonder, Stevie Wonder now was a really unnecessary and gratuitous cheap shot.
All right, one last question for you, Geraldo. True or false, you have promised to shave your mustache if Michael is convicted?
Yeah, I slipped that out in an interview I did yesterday, and I'm afraid it's going to haunt me.
Yeah, my friend Ross is the guy who interviewed you and got you to say that.
I meant it metaphorically, but I'm so confident that it won't happen that I'm going to stick with it.
All right. The show airs tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Central Time. It's called At Large with Geraldo Rivera. You did it a couple of weeks ago, and you've been editing it down?
Well, I'm going to Neverland tomorrow morning also to finish it up, so we're not done yet.
I appreciate your time today, Geraldo. Thank you.
Paul. Okay, buddy.
Geraldo
Bye.
Rivera from Fox News Channel. You see it 9 o'clock tomorrow night Central Time. Geraldo exclusively here on the Paul Harris Show on News Talk 1120 KMOX.